Hey, this is Rob with Crypto Research, and today I'm going to be going over the cryptocurrency Ark. The purpose of this video is to just provide a basic outline of Ark so that maybe you can use this information to help you decide whether you want to do further research on this cryptocurrency. Like most of my videos, or all of them, I'm going to try to stick with the same format where I go over these different 10 points of any cryptocurrency. Uh, Hopefully this information makes it easy to read, easy to skip around if you already know a little bit about these cryptos. So today we're going to start with what is Ark, and Ark is, I guess, what I would consider to be a little bit more complex and ambitious projects compared to most cryptocurrencies. So it's a little bit hard to wrap your head around it. I definitely suggest this is one where you have to do a lot of research on your own to determine whether this is the type of project you would want to invest in. So anyway, it is, and like most cryptocurrencies, is open source. It's a community project. I consider it a platform or utility coin. Other coins, for example, might be specific software that serves a purpose, or an industry, or a software that could be used for a specific industry. But this one is general utility. Ark was forked from Lisk. It is known as the Google of blockchains, and the general idea behind Ark is that it wants to connect different cryptocurrencies together. And I think more importantly, Ark is going to build a platform where you can trigger smart contracts on other cryptocurrencies. And as part of that, they're going to provide a lot of, I guess you would call them libraries, APIs, to be able to work with different programming languages like Java, C++. And to go along with that, that makes Ark a pretty good platform as a sandbox for blockchain development. The major features is ACES is their main Ark contract execution services that you would use to be able to trigger smart contracts. They already have that set up with Ethereum, and they're also going to have a fast one-click deployable clonable blockchain. Basically creates a side chain. It's very similar to Lisk, and that's why it was forked from Lisk. They also have very quick, short, small blocks, 8-second block times. That's very important because with triggering executions, that's the primary purpose of this cryptocurrency. It is a delegated proof of stake, which we'll get into a little bit later. Another benefit, for example, this is just one. There's a lot of benefits of Ark because it can be used in so many ways, but it potentially has the benefit of being used as a decentralized exchange. If Ark is connected with other currencies and you're able to trigger contracts, the possibility exists that you could actually transfer from one crypto to another. And also they're going to be adding an option for privacy, and that's always a good feature. Competition. One of the nice things about Ark is that it really is a unique project. There isn't a lot of competition for it now. In the future, there are features of Ark that are probably going to be implemented in other currencies, but I think Ark is really trying to establish itself as kind of a glue to the cryptocurrency market. So one obvious would be Lisk. They seem to have a friendly relationship with Lisk, so I don't think Lisk is just a direct competitor, but probably the closest one. And I think they're taking Ark in a different direction. And of course, they are a decentralized app, so to some degree, they would compete with cryptos like Ethereum and Neo, although I wouldn't necessarily say they're direct competitors. They're more likely to work well with those two specific currencies. So, but if in the future, if Ethereum or Neo decided they wanted to implement similar technologies, I think you would have to consider them competitors. Use case. This is something I just take on my own, so I don't want to say, and probably hadn't said it at the beginning, I'm not affiliated with Ark at all. I'm looking at this from the outside. So, I just kind of try to think about how would you actually use this, because it's with a crypto like this, it's a little bit difficult to figure out why they're doing these things and how you'd use it. So I kind of think of a complex business process like real estate transactions. If anybody's ever bought a home, this would sound really familiar. You have buyers, sellers, lawyers, banks, title companies. There's a lot of different organizations involved in that type of transaction. And if you imagine 5 years down the line where most businesses, or at least a lot of businesses, may have a blockchain as part of their infrastructure, you may also realize that each of them uses a different kind of a blockchain. Some might use Bitcoin or Ethereum or Stratus or any other cryptocurrency. So the ability to be able to conduct a transaction on one of each of those blockchains could be valuable. So imagine that Ark, or you owned a real estate company, you developed an Ark blockchain, you connected listeners to Civic and used that for identity verification. That would trigger a contract on at the bank within Ethereum, or might trigger a contract in Bitcoin or whatever smart contract platform someone was using. Maybe the title company is a .NET framework and they use Stratus as their platform. You can have an event trigger a contract there. So eventually you could set up triggers of different contracts so that the next event can occur, whether that be sending in an application, or maybe it's to send a payment, maybe it's to trigger the verification of an identity. It could be really any function, and the goal ultimately would be to streamline processes using the blockchain without needing a third party in the middle. The team is fairly large, 27 co-founders. They're a global team. There's 15 core members. Mike Doty was a co-founder of Crypty. Francis Xavier Thorens, a full stack developer with Lisk. Those are two guys you should look up. The team members are pretty active. You seem to be able to find them easily. You can look at videos and find them. That's what you want to see. What you're trying to avoid with a team is a really small team that you don't know. You don't ever see them talking. They never evangelize their product. That would draw a red flag. Ark does not. Ark has a team members that are out there and active. The community is great. It's big. Plenty of Reddit subscribers. It's one of the bigger Slacks. I enjoy their community so far. They seem very helpful. They have a big Twitter following. They're active on social media. Like anything, when you're looking at a community, I always recommend you join and use your own opinion. Okay, I think community is one of those things where everybody has their own opinion on it, and you really shouldn't have somebody like me even telling you that. Although I will say, I do, in my opinion, I like their community, and it is big. On the technical analysis side, I'm going to look at a few things, that the long trend lines. I'm going to look at the bullish triangle forming and talk a little bit about exhaustion. So this is Ark in Bitcoin, and what you can see here is after Ark released, it started running. It had a nice little bull movement through September. During that August period was a pretty big boom for a lot of cryptocurrencies. But then in October, or September and October, we saw Bitcoin get really strong. So almost every alternate coin really did poorly in the last few months. Bitcoin was on a tear, so it was very rare for only in special cases where some event happened, and then those particular coins would do well. For the most part, most coins, this is a very familiar looking chart. And what I like about this is still, no matter what, you're seeing higher highs and higher lows on the long term. You also see what I really like about this is it has this expanding wedge, which is oftentimes known as the jaws of wealth, because when the wedges like this form, oftentimes they'll hit the very top of that channel. And as you can see, that would put Ark quite a bit higher than it is now. You also want to point out here in November where you could see 3 heavy days of selling. That happened as Bitcoin was first initially going towards that $8,000 mark. And I think that represents people that were holding it for the short term, hoping it would go up. And then all of a sudden it was, Bitcoin went on a tear and people just started selling. As I've said, with a proof of stake coin, there's usually going to be a good amount of people that hold on to it. So my guess is that a very large percentage of short-term holders have exited Ark, and now Ark is being accumulated by stronger hands. As you can also see, Ark has gone down, but Bitcoin has actually made has made higher highs without Ark making lower lows against it. And this is an Ark dollar chart, and as you can see, it's a lot less ominous because Ark's showing a good bullish trend and just really holding its own right now at this $3 mark. But if you look at that, that is excellent accumulation, and it's a strong, healthy chart. And usually you get a move, you flag sideways, consolidate, get accumulation. Ark is in a very good position to have another big move up. So I'm going to talk about strengths and weaknesses. And so one of the nice things about the project is the size of the project, the scope of it, the utility aspects of it. It makes it a big enough project that it realistically does have a chance of being in the top 10 in market cap. If cryptos do well, Ark has a good chance of doing well. And really I think most businesses that adopt blockchain would see some value in Ark and being able to connect different cryptocurrencies together. Another aspect, as I just mentioned earlier, is that being a proof of stake coin. 56% of the current Ark is being voted as proof of stake. And if you take the top 2 addresses that are currently restricted from voting, that's 87% of the total supply. So there really isn't that much liquidity. And the good part about that is you're going to get more people that just hold. You aren't going to get as many people that just want to dump it all the way down to nothing. Okay, but at the same time, without having that liquidity, it isn't a target for the pump and dumpers or the day traders. So, which I like, because I hate having a coin that's just constantly going up and down every time there's a small little bit of news, and it's just volatile. I like the fact that you can, when it's going strong, it runs in a strong bull market. When it's not going strong, it's at least going sideways and consolidating. The other thing is, look, with this type of utility, it can have almost unlimited amount of uses. You could sit there and think all day of thousands of things that you could do with Ark, and I'm sure there are things that people haven't even figured out. And especially the fact that, it is community development. You can contribute as a community. And there was a good example recently in the last couple of days. A member of the community created an API for a technology called LuArk, or Luon. I'm sorry. I have a link to that because I'm not super familiar with the tech. But the LuArk API that they created was something the community contributed to. And that's the type of thing that you can see from Ark. As I said, as people come up with better ideas, I think you're going to start seeing more and more projects, especially as Ark gets closer to releasing its main software. The weakness is that it is a big project, so big projects take time. How long will it take for companies to start using blockchain? How long will it take for companies to start be ready to implement something like Ark? That could be time consuming. It may take a year. It may take 3 years. I feel like Ark is going to be releasing a lot of stuff in 2018. So that's why I think right now, when you can get it at a good price, it's a good time to accumulate and move up. But, that's for everybody else to decide. But I believe that you have to realize that it's a complex, big project. So if you want to buy it so that it's going to go up right now and make you 500% in December, or even early in 2018, I think that's may be unrealistic. You never know when it's going to take off, but I think you want to buy this for the long term. Right now there's not a lot of sales and marketing hype. In some ways, that can be bad, because maybe that could be part of the reason why investors are just accumulating, or it's just going sideways or dropping against Bitcoin. On the other hand, I'm not a big fan of coins that's just pump and dump. Or people that are just hyping, or talking about something very insignificant all the time. And with Ark, really, until most of their software is released, there's really almost no point in spending a bunch of money on marketing. So it's not a surprise that they're not hyping everything up every single day. But I think that the advantage is you can get in now with the opportunity to possibly own it when it starts to take off. The last thing that I've seen people criticize is Ark being a general term, may not have that brand recognition that something like Ethereum has. I don't know what you might feel of that. If that doesn't really bother me that much in crypto, but it is something that can be looked at as a criticism. Here's some links I would direct you to. Go. You certainly want to, with just about any currency, start at their main website, read their white paper, their roadmap, read the blog. You can get access to the forum, download the wallet. There's a link there to the node report, which actually shows you how much ARK is voting. That's where I get the percentages from. Join the Reddit and the Slack and Twitter to get a feel for the community. And I definitely recommend Dr. Ten has some great videos that explain ARK, because ARK is a complex project and it is difficult to understand. So it's very important that you really understand what it is if you decide you're going to invest in it. So anyways, that's it for ARK. Again, this video is just designed to be a very quick introduction, give you an idea on the 10 different aspects of ARK. You know, if you like this video, if you felt like you got something out of it, hit like. If you have questions, don't be afraid to comment. I try to help you out. I can even direct you to people at ARK. I am not a member of ARK. I do not work for them. This is completely independent. Please do your own research. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. And I plan to keep doing other videos. So for now, take care, everybody.